Question for you. How good are you at remembering your comic book keys? Personally, I struggle with remembering all the numbers across all the titles. If you're like me, stay tuned to this video because I'm going to tell you about a resource that you might want to download today. How you guys doing? Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. This video is my attempt to give something back to the community. You guys know that I've been trying to do that with a couple of the videos that I've been putting out specifically around common terminology used in comic book collecting. And so this video is an additional video that I bring to you with the hope that some of you may find it helpful. So a couple of, I think it was maybe a couple of months ago, I became aware of a new app through one of you who actually recommended it to me. I downloaded the app and it's been extremely helpful for me over the last couple of weeks and month or so that I've been using this app. And I'm specifically talking about one that helps me to identify key issues of comics across the various titles that I may be searching for. So what's been happening is I have popped into local comic shops. I don't always have a piece of paper with me where I jot down my notes of the books that I'm looking for. And so this app that sits on my phone has come in extremely helpful for me being able to identify those issues that I may want to purchase. So what I want to do over the course of this video is I want to talk with you about this app. I want to show you some of the features and functionality of the app. And at the end of this, you'll make your decision about whether this is something that you actually want to download. Now, what's cool about this is I had a chance to actually have a dialogue with the guy that created this app. And so I have some additional information beyond just the features and functionality, beyond just what I was able to find on their website. I actually had a conversation with the guy and he gave me a behind the scenes look as to how this app was created. And so I want to offer that to you guys over the course of this video. So hopefully you find this helpful in some way, shape, or form. So the app that I'm talking about is the Key Collector Comics app, and you can actually access it from the App Store. I believe it's also on Android, which I guess is the Google Play Store, but you may have to head over to their website to take a look at that to confirm that. But it's been a very helpful app to me that I've used time and time again as I've been in and out of local shops looking for new books. So when I started having the dialogue with Nick, my question was first, are you a comic book collector? And sure enough, he is a comic book collector. So the next question was, when did you launch the app? And it was launched in October 17 at New York Comic Con. So my next question was, well, why did you create the app? Like, what was the motivation behind the creation of this? And what he explained to me was that he met the owner of a used bookstore who had roughly 50,000 comic books on hand. So Nick, being the guy that he is, actually struck a deal with this owner. He volunteered to go through all of these books to identify those books that were key issues and might be of value, to set them aside, and then to post them to eBay for sale. And they would basically split the profits. To be honest with you, it's a sweet deal. If any of you are watching this video right now and you own a bookstore and you want me to go through your books, happy to do it. We can split the profits and all that good stuff. But getting back to this situation, he ends up jumping into this this challenge and realized that it was indeed a challenge. So I actually want to quote him here. He says, "It didn't take me long to realize I was in over my head. I knew the project would have gone a lot quicker if there were a resource that isolated the issues of value." So he had to go issue through all these books. And in many cases, he actually had to use Google to identify the significance of the books that he was flipping through. So needless to say, this was a very long and tedious process. And so what he realized was that he needed to create this resource because people could find it helpful. And so he did. So my next question was, well, where does all the information come from that's in the database? And I'll show you the functionality of this thing in just a moment, but where does the information come from? And what he explained to me is that he culled the database from a number of resources, including Google and Wikipedia. And there's also pricing information in here. So he says that the pricing comes from eBay auction sales averaged over a 3-month period. So the first thing I want to do is actually to show you what the app looks like. And this is it sitting on my iPad. And you can see key collector and what the icon looks like there for the app itself. And this is the main page for the app. And you can see the various functions here: title search, search characters, detailed search, and then there's a couple of icons down at the bottom where there's some pre-programmed searches and pre-programmed lists that you can access, and we'll spend a little time walking through those things. So the first thing that we kind of wanted to look at here was the title search, and I keyed in Amazing Spider-Man, my favorite title, right? So as you can see here on screen, what you'll see is a thumbnail of the cover of the book along with a description of the book, and you'll also see a range of pricing. If you remember, this is actually the eBay auction sales averaged over a 3-month period. And so it's in a range of a low, medium, and high. And so one of the drawbacks, of course, is that this doesn't take into account fluctuations that may happen, especially if a book is running up for some reason or another. But it's a good way to kind of gauge, whether a book is worth something or not, and also how much you should potentially pay for it. So again, you've got these thumbnails, and then you've also got these wonderful descriptions of what's actually in the book in terms of, first appearances, whether it's first, second, or third appearance. So just continuing down the page here, you can see, some additional information around Amazing Spider-Man #3, the significance of that book, as well as the pricing information. So I also wanted to take a look at the ability to search within a title. So the first thing I did was to search for the title Amazing Spider-Man. But once in there, you actually have a text box where you can search for a specific issue. And in this case, I searched for 50. So Amazing Spider-Man #50, which is the first appearance of Kingpin, a book that I recently picked up and had signed by Stan Lee and is in the process of being signed by John Romita Sr. So you have the ability to search by number, and then you can access the information related to this book in terms of, again, key description and also the pricing information for this particular book. So if you were to click on the image itself of the book, what you then can do is actually drill down into some additional details regarding that book, where you can see when it was published, who it was written by, and also who the illustrator was. And in this case, it was written by Stan Lee. It was published in 1967, and the illustrator was John Romita Sr. All right, so the next feature that we want to take a look at is the ability to search by characters. And so if you just tap on that middle box there, you actually can jump into that. And what I wanted to do is to search for Wolverine. And by typing in Wolverine, it actually does the search for you and pulls up 2 titles, The Ultimate Wolverine and also just Wolverine. So if you were to tap on Wolverine, what you find is that you have the ability to jump to some of the key issues that are around that particular character, starting off with Incredible Hulk number 180. As you guys know, this is the cameo appearance of Wolverine on the final panel, and then continuing down the page, you'll actually see Hulk 181, which is that full appearance. I also want to call your attention to the numbers in the upper right hand corner, where it actually just highlights what the numbers are. So as you're looking at these issues, what you'll see is that issue number is always represented in that upper right hand corner, just to make it easy to identify specifically which issue you are actually looking at. Okay, so the next feature that we want to take a look at is the detailed search. And in all honesty, this is the feature that I've probably used the least out of everything that's contained within the app. But by tapping the detailed search, you have the ability to query the database, to examine various categories, variant issues, recently added issues, as well as search by creator, whether it be the artist, the publisher, or the writer. All right, so the hotkeys is the section that I've probably used the most out of all 4 of the predetermined lists at the bottom of the screen. So by tapping hotkeys, you have the ability to access some of the books that have recently popped up in popularity. And right at the very top, you can see Amazing Spider-Man 263, which is a book that has recently become popular because of what's happening with the Red Goblin as of late. This was a book that was probably in a dollar bin not that long ago, but is now a book that people are actually seeking out to purchase. And as we continue down the page, you can see some additional Spider-Man books here that have recently popped up, as well as some other books that have become popular because of what's happening with the MCU. So one of the features that I like most about the app is something called the hotkey alerts. And this is an alert that will actually come into your phone if you've set up notifications to tell you that a book has suddenly become hot for some reason or another. Maybe, Netflix announces that Bullseye is going to be the next villain in the Daredevil TV show. Maybe something happens in the MCU. Maybe a publisher decides they're going to release a new title. Whatever it is, they have the ability to send these alerts out to say, hey, something's happening to this particular book. You may want to take notice. And I have to tell you, it's happened a couple of times. I've been in meetings, I've received these alerts, I've popped open the eBay app, and I've actually made a purchase while sitting in a meeting as a result of getting these alerts. And it's happened maybe a few more times than I want to admit, but it's a nice way to either be able to know that you need to go buy this book for some reason or another, or know that you need to go and look through your personal collection to identify if you have this book or not. So it's a really wonderful feature, and kind of as Nick alluded to, they're looking at continuing to enhance this feature because they know that it's a popular one and they know that there's a couple of things that they need to work out. But this is one of those things that happens, right? If you've got an app that's been created, that is being tweaked, that is being grown, that is being that is responding to the needs of its user, these type of things happen. But I have to tell you, it is a wonderful app. I love the features and functionality. I love the ability to access, this type of information literally at my fingertips, and I haven't seen anything else like it. So if you agree, I would encourage you to go download the app today. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, I encourage you to do so. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day.